Well, the Fantastic Four First Steps full reviews are in. A few days ago, some people who got to see the Fantastic Four early got to post their reactions, not full reviews. They could only say a little bit about what they liked or didn't like about the movie, but now the review embargo has lifted and people who saw the movie at the premiere Monday night or before can now go in depth on what they liked or didn't like about the movie. So, what do people think about the Fantastic Four First Steps? Let's find out. So starting with Charlie from Emergency Awesome, he starts off his video, his review, by stating, "This is a great step in the right direction for Marvel Studios, and the quality of this movie is very high." In fact, most of the reviews that we have heard and the reactions that we have seen all praise how the movie looks, except for a few scenes. And what we've been hearing is those scenes are actually around the baby, Franklin Richards, when he is CGI. Apparently, studios don't really know how to do CGI for babies that well. But Charlie actually compares this to Superman, the recent Superman movie that just came out. A lot of people really love the movie, but it's not a perfect movie. Charlie basically says the same thing. There's a lot of greatness to this movie, but it's not without its flaws. But he says, you will leave this movie with a giant smile on your face. He also compared it to Superman again in the fact that the feel that Marvel Studios went for with the Fantastic Four First Steps was a comic book come to life. They really went for it with this movie, much like Superman. One thing he does say about the movie is that it will leave you with a sense of optimism and hope. And it's very good at being self-contained in this alternate reality universe, but at the same time, it does a great job of setting up what's to come next, which we know is Avengers Doomsday. And he does praise the cast. I know a lot of people have been on the fence about Pedro Pascal as Reed Richards, but almost all the reviews that I have seen have praised Pedro Pascal as Reed. In fact, I don't think I've seen any that say he's a bad Reed Richards, and most of the cast is really praised in this. But then we go to Jeremy Jahns, who is one of my favorite reviewers, even though we don't see eye to eye sometimes. For example, I love Superman. He did not. But he says he was really looking forward to the Fantastic Four, and right away he says that the aesthetic of it all, the 1960s feel, does work for this movie. He also said that the cast was amazing, and one day people will study the fame of Pedro Pascal, which is something we're probably going to hear a lot because Pedro Pascal nowadays is everywhere. And I mean, he's literally going to be in two of the biggest movies coming up, Star Wars, The Mandalorian and Grogu, and Avengers Doomsday. But Jeremy Jahns says that he's amazing as Mr. Fantastic. He also praises the visuals of the movie. He says that they are actually better than what you see in the trailers. He even said that there was one sequence that was actually extraordinary. And here's something pretty interesting. He said that even with the trailers, he did think that the mid-2000s Silver Surfer looked better than the Silver Surfer that we've seen for First Steps in the trailer, but on screen, she actually looked amazing. And here's something really cool that he said that a lot of people have said as well. He says Galactus is actually genuinely scary in the movie. He says he's terrifying. He says Ralph Ineson is just fantastic as Galactus. The voice is amazing. And Shia LaBeouf as the Silver Surfer instead of Norrin Radd, he says it actually works really well. And there's some pretty emotional moments with her in the movie. And here is something that he said that I think is the best thing that we could say for Marvel right now for the Fantastic Four. He says, I really feel like this is the MCU movie that the MCU needs. And the last thing I'll mention that he said is that the moments of heart and emotion were allowed to sit there in the moment. You were allowed to feel them. You weren't interrupted by slapstick comedy, but you could really sit there and marinate in them, which is what a lot of other people have said as well, which I'm really, really excited about. Then we go to friend of the channel, Christian Harloff, who said that he was really surprised with how much he actually liked this movie. And during his out of theater reaction video, he was praising it, stating that he loved the movie, despite not really caring about the Fantastic Four before or getting excited by the trailers, but still he went into it and came out loving the film. What's interesting is right away he started praising the same things as Jeremy Jahns. He says that the aesthetic of the 1960s works insanely well. The setup of the Fantastic Four in the film, how they've already been superheroes for a handful of years, works insanely well because they do give you flashbacks and kind of like a montage of who they were before they got their powers, how they got their powers, who they've fought before, and now they are a famous superhero team. But he says that much like Superman just threw us right in the middle of this world, the Fantastic Four kind of does the same, and it works really well. And he says something really great about the visuals. He says that out of the 30 plus movies that Marvel has done, how could you go in and make something look different than all of the others? Well, the Fantastic Four First Steps managed to do that in a really great way that looks amazing. Then he says something that's very important that I think a lot of fans want to know. Does this film just rely on the spectacle of it all, the big scenes? Or is there heart to it? Is there some good story to it? And that's what he says is the case. There is heart to it. You really care about the Fantastic Four family. And great news for those who were worried about Marvel changing Johnny Storm to not be who he really is, who most people know him as. People were thinking that, well, they might go a little woke with Johnny. According to Christian and other reviewers, no. He's still the same Johnny you know, the cocky Johnny who loves women. He very much is a great Johnny Storm / Human Torch. But yes, according to a lot of reviewers, yes, there is a lot of focus on Vanessa Kirby, but she does an amazing job as Sue Storm. And there's a lot of focus on her because she is the mother of Franklin Richards, who we've already been told in the trailers, Galactus wants. The Silver Surfer's trying to get Franklin for Galactus. Then Galactus goes to Earth to try to get Franklin, and she is his mother. So there is a lot of focus on her, but there's also a lot of focus on Reed. And he is still the smartest man alive, and he is the leader of the Fantastic Four. And everybody says that he's done an amazing job as Reed Richards. And overall, he said that he loved the movie. He gave it a 4.5 out of 5. He says Act 1 is great. In the middle, gets a little slow, but it's still good. But then the final act soars. And he stresses how much he loved the dynamic of the family between Reed and Sue and between Johnny and Ben. And everybody says that Ben has just a ton of heart in the movie. Now from the Real Rejects, Greg and Roxy, another really positive review for the movie. They praise Galactus as somebody who is big and who is scary. So that's a great thing that this movie definitely has going for it. Galactus is what we want. At least that's what it sounds like. Of course, I have not seen the movie yet, but everybody seems to praise the cast and the characters. And Greg and Roxy do the same. Greg said that the standout for him was Pedro Pascal as Reed Richards. He did an amazing job and he brought a lot of depth to the character. Roxy's favorite was Johnny Storm because he was really funny and he was really hot. So for the ladies, there you go. And Greg said something pretty interesting. He's read a lot of the Fantastic Four comics very recently, and he says that this version of Sue Storm is probably one of the best versions that we could ever get, and that includes the other movies with Jessica Alba as well. They both say that she is very powerful and such a presence in the movie, but it doesn't come across as in your face, which I think some people were worried about. One thing they say, which I think is really important to talk about, is that the final fight with Galactus, they say, it's epic. And they address the fact that a lot of people thought Galactus maybe looked small in the trailers or would appear small in the movie. That is not the case. He is not small in the movie. And one thing that they made sure to say is that Galactus is a challenging, formidable villain, to the point to where you're wondering if the Fantastic Four can actually stop Galactus. And that is something that the Fantastic Four, of course, wonder themselves. And they did praise the story of the Silver Surfer of Shallow Ball. They say that her character and her story was done exceptionally well. They also say that this is one of Marvel's best looking movies, and a lot of people have said that. Pretty much everybody has said that the visuals are insane. But most importantly, as they ended their review, Greg said that this was a change in the tides for Marvel, a great change. And Roxy went in not really caring about the Fantastic Four, not really caring about the movie, but she went in hopeful that it was going to be a good movie, and she left loving the Fantastic Four. And there's a lot of reviews out there right now, and a lot of them pretty much say the same things that all of these people said. The cast is amazing. The characters are amazing in the movie. Galactus is terrifying, and there are actually real stakes in the movie. The movie is self-contained. You don't have to watch any other Marvel movie there is to watch this movie and love it. While at the same time, there are some really cool Easter eggs that Marvel movie fans and Marvel comic fans will absolutely love to see. So again, I've read a lot of reviews. I've listened to a lot of reviews. I have not really found any negative ones. There are some people who didn't love the movie, but they still really enjoyed it. But a lot of people really loved this movie. And I'll also say that people like Jeremy Jahns, who didn't like Superman, actually like this movie. But at the same time, Greg loved Superman and he loved the Fantastic Four. So it sounds like this movie's about to be a home run. I'm super stoked. I see it on Thursday. Let me know how excited you are for it in the comments down below. And please don't forget to like this video and subscribe if you want to stay up to date on all things with the MCU. You can also find us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Snapchat, and TikTok. As always, thank you all so much for watching. Woof woof.